Good morning, sixth graders. This week, we're going to have a continuation of the level one questions that we did last week. We're going to continue to hone our skills. Some of us picked this up really quickly, others, we needed a little more refreshment on this, so to speak. So, we're going to back up and review the level one questions and what we're expecting. So, today, this is kind of the order of operations, so to speak. You can watch this video, of course, and then if you go to Google Slides, there is an assignment today, and it's the level one questions, and it's about glaciers. You click on this link. This is the document that pops up. It'll have a copy for you made already. Your job is to read this. Your teacher may read it with you as a class. Make sure you run through the vocabulary. That's very important. And then on the second page of the document, there are uh, 5 level one questions. Well, questions started with when, how, what, who, and where. And then one sort of bonus questions you can try if you want to. You don't have to. So I'll quickly run through what I'm talking about when I'm talking about a glacier. First of all, today, I want you to be able to describe what a glacier looks like. Secondly, I want you to explain how glaciers have changed the landscape of Minnesota. So here's this picture of a glacier in today's world. Now, the glaciers that we're talking about in Minnesota are 10, 20, 30, 40,000 years ago, but the idea is still the same. Huge, large sheets of ice, huge, as big as a state, that are hundreds, if not thousands of feet thick, that slowly move back and forth across the landscape. That's what a glacier is. So here's another picture of a glacier here, and you can see that it has different colors to it. The blue areas are more dense ice. The white areas are more crumbly ice. And then there's these brown streaks in the middle here that contain rock, dirt, sand, gravel, whatnot. Glaciers are not perfectly clean. However, when they melt, they do give off beautiful, clear, fresh water. Most of the world's fresh water, in fact, is locked up in glaciers. Here's the state of Minnesota here. And this picture is about 15,000 years ago, so to speak. And a huge glacier, which started in the Arctic, grew and formed. And the reading will talk about how they grow and pushed, southward and covered 80% of the state of Minnesota. Small corner here in southeastern Minnesota and a little sliver of land on the southwestern side of the state were not touched by glaciers or the last glaciers, which came down 15,000 years ago. Okay. Now, when glaciers move back and forth, they act much like a bulldozer, pushing, scraping, gouging the land. And as they move forward, they form all sorts of little, what I would call moraines or hills. And then there's fields of rocks and gravel that are left behind. As the glacier pushes forward, it pushes, just like the picture here, a little line of soil in front of it. And that's called moraine. Now, when the glacier melts and goes back, that hill is left. And over hundreds and thousands of years, that hill is covered with grass. And to an untrained eye, you can't even see it. In addition, there's all these little potholes or kettle lakes that are formed by the glaciers. Not very big lakes like the Mill Pond, that are just, they fill in because of the melting glacier water. And of course, there's rivers and, of course, larger lakes too. So in our world today, this is what glacial activity looks like. When I say glacier or glacial, that refers to glaciers. So here's some of these moraines or hills that you see a lot of in central and western Minnesota. This is the remains of the dirt and soil that the glaciers push south. Here's a huge boulder as big as a semi truck here. Obviously, a person didn't put it there. No machine can lift that. That was put there by the glaciers. One of these kettle lakes or pothole lakes that dot western and central Minnesota. And then along the north shore of Lake Superior, you see evidence of glaciers, these scratches on the bare rock uh, on the shore of Lake Superior. So this is where the glaciers went back and forth and scratched it like nails on a chalkboard. Quickly, the final couple things here are some what I would call more modern day effects of glaciers. 10,000 years ago, when the last glaciers left, they formed this huge lake. So the story was the water wanted to go back to the north, but the glacier, as it melted, blocked the water. So it formed this huge lake, three, four times as big as Lake Superior. And that was called Lake Agassiz. And that lake was there for about 5 to 6,000 years. Now, over time, the glacier completely melted and retreated way back towards the Arctic, and this lake kind of dried up. Now, today, there's no lake here, but you can see the remains of the lake when you go up the Red River Valley and you notice that the land is completely flat, it's very fertile, and that's a result of that land being underneath that lake for so many years. Finally, a little bit of local history to this. If you were to look at the Minnesota River from the side, if you could somehow cut it and look at it from the side, stand and look down the river, you would see something like this. You see the Minnesota River here today is not very big, doesn't move very fast, kind of small. And then towns like Henderson and Le Sueur and Jordan and Belle Plaine are kind of built up on the edge. But very few people know that at one time the Minnesota River was much, much bigger. It was called the Glacial River Warren, and it was probably a- at least 1,000 feet, maybe 800 feet deeper than it was today, and many, many times wider. So the hills that we drive up when we go um, east out of town, the hills that we go down when we go to Henderson, then go up when we leave town, that is the remains of a huge river that used to be the Minnesota River. And over time, that river has decreased, and this is what we have today. But this big chasm that was carved in the ground was a result of glacial water melting. So, after you've watched this, you can go ahead and open the Google document, read the reading carefully, answer the level 1 questions. If you need help, ask your teacher, and then please make sure you turn that in by tomorrow. Thank you.